talk to you about how my family is connected to Franz Joseph Land.
Can you show us on the map where it is, Ben?
It is right here. It's right on top of Russia. So it's just circling right there.
Oh, okay.
First off, I'm going to talk to you about a few facts on Franz Joseph Land. Franz Joseph Land is a small archipelago above Russia in the Arctic Sea. It is the most northern archipelago in the world. It is part of Russia, but it is currently uninhabited. It was first discovered on an exploration in 1872 to 1874. The exploration was led by Julius von Papen. The islands were named after the Emperor of Austria, Franz Joseph I. The archipelago consists of 191 islands, which cover a total area of 6,229 square miles. The largest island is George Land. The tallest peak is 2,200 feet above sea level and is on Wilczek Land. Ooh. Sorry, I didn't know I could do that.
Yeah.
I did not anticipate having to do this. Sorry. Wrong. I was not going to do this.
It's not where you make donuts, then.
Okay. Anyway, the tallest peak is 2,200 feet above sea level is on Wilczek Land. Around 85% of the land is covered in glaciers. Running water flows on the islands from May to September. All the islands are always surrounded by packed ice, but from August to September, it is at its weakest point. From mid-April to the end of August, Franz Joseph Land receives 141 days of midnight sun, which is basically 24-hour sunshine. And from mid-October to late February, it gets 128 days of polar night, which is 24 hours of darkness. The average low temperature is negative 15 Fahrenheit, and the average high temperature in the summer is 35 Fahrenheit. Because it is so cold, only lichen, moss, and low-growing Arctic plants can grow there. There are around 33 species of fish, 41 species of birds, polar bears, Arctic foxes, seals, walruses, and whales that live on it.
That was awesome.
Let's see. There are around 33 species of fish, 41 species of birds, polar bears, Arctic foxes, seals, walruses, and whales that live around and on the island. And here are a few of the pictures.
Cool.
Scary looking dudes.
Yes.
What? And there's another polar bear grazing on the low shrubbery. And here is the island. As you can see, it's covered in ice, pretty much. And so now I'd like to talk to you a little bit about how my family is connected to Franz Joseph Land. My great-grandfather, Mykhailo Ivanychuk, took part in an exploration to Franz Joseph Land from 1931 to 1932. He was a pioneering explorer of the archipelago. Mykhailo was born in 1894 in a small village in Ukraine. His parents were peasants and not wealthy. From an early age, Mykhailo was interested in science. He won a scholarship to Lviv University in Ukraine to study. He served in the Ukrainian army. Then, during the war between Poland and Ukraine in 1920, he escaped to Czechoslovakia, where he earned a doctorate in physical geography and became interested in polar exploration. He joined the Arctic Institute in Leningrad, moved to Kharkov, Ukraine in 1928, and became part of an expedition to Franz Joseph Land. During this time, there was great interest from many countries in exploring. Exploring the polar regions. Mykhailo became the assistant director and geomorphologist on the 1931-1932 14-month expedition to Franz Joseph Land. Okay. Let's see. Mykhailo departed on the coal-powered icebreaker Lomonosov along with 10 others in July. They would travel to Takaya Bay or Quiet Bay on Hooker Island to the most northerly polar station in the world. The job would be to study the natural resources of the islands and polar weather patterns, polar magnetics, and operate a radio station. They arrived at the station in August. Mykhailo Bay was a good location for a radio station. The tides quickly dissolved winter ice, and the bay was ice-free early. For fresh food, enormous colonies of birds lived on the cliffs above the station, and seals, polar bears, walruses, and whales were hunted. The scientists even had a milk cow and chickens. Mykhailo described the food and pastries that they ate as excellent, and all the scientists gained weight on the expedition. All the station buildings were wooden, with each person having their own berth. They even had a bathhouse, library, and running water in the summer. The radio station kept in contact with the Soviet Union and other stations, including the bird expedition to the South Pole. Mykhailo studied glaciers and geographic features and discovered several islands that had not been previously known. And he and several other scientists took 2 dog sleds north to Wilczek Land and discovered the Komsomol Islands along the way. They were charged by polar bears, fell through the ice, waded out a blizzard, and became snowblind. And it's when it's so bright, and this is a picture of Mykhailo Bay. And this is a picture of Mykhailo Bay and some images of the houses. Mykhailo and his companions lived on the station. Lived on the station and explored the islands until their replacements arrived the following July. The icebreaker, Malajin, came to pick them up and drop off a new team of scientists. Mykhailo and his team sailed to Rudolph Island, where they helped construct a new radio station at Warm Springs Bay, which then became the most northerly radio station in the Arctic. They returned to the Malajin to the Soviet Union. When Mykhailo returned to Ukraine, he met and married his wife Nina, who became a professor of geomorphology at the University of Kharkov. It was during that time that Joseph Stalin began to kill Ukrainian intellectuals and anyone he considered a threat. Mykhailo disappeared in April 1937, before my grandfather was born. He was interrogated and convicted of anti-government activities and sentenced to death by firing squad. My great-grandfather loved the North. He described the beauty of the northern lights, the dazzling colors of the icebergs, and the joy of hiking and exploring the islands. From the book he wrote about his work, 14 Months on Franz Josef Land, which I have up there, it was obvious that he loved his time in the Arctic. Personally, my great-grandfather, Mykhailo, was a truly inspiring man who used his talents to become an Arctic explorer and explore a truly amazing island like Franz Josef Land for 14 months. I'm proud to be related to him. That's my presentation.
So they never did find out what happened to him? Just
He got
disappeared?
killed.